What wide receiver in 2022 has the capability of becoming a high-end wide receiver one that's not even close to being considered a wide receiver one by people? I give you Terry McLaurin. Terry McLaurin, you have just been Smitty approved, pal.
This is the Fantasy Football Show with your host, Smitty.
Scary Terry is doubted by many, and for good reason on its face, because the guy doesn't have a quarterback throwing him the football. But the Washington Commanders are on the hunt for a quarterback, and I believe this team is an attractive landing spot. They've got a defense, they've got a running game, good pass catchers, McLaurin. This is a good football team. Mediocre name, but good football team. They are an elite quarterback away from being the top team in the NFC East. In fact, I predict, like I predicted the Bengals to win the division this past season, I predict the Washington football team to win the NFC East in 2022. Now, Terry McLaurin is a good wide receiver. People know he's ultra talented. And at one point, people considered him probably around 5 to 10 in fantasy football and in NFL standards for wide receivers. But people are fickle. People are all about what have you done for me lately, and McLaurin's slipping in a lot of people's minds when it comes to ranking NFL wide receivers. I'm telling you right now, McLaurin has top 5 to 10 wide receiver potential in NFL standards, but especially in fantasy football standards. This guy's not just a low-end wide receiver one capable dude. He can be a top 5 fantasy football wide receiver if given the proper quarterback. But Smitty, they don't have a quarterback. I know that, Bob. But the wonderful news is that the value you can acquire this guy at right now in best ball drafts especially, and redraft and early redraft. Not that many people redraft this early, but if you do, McLaurin's a steal. All of the risk is currently baked in to the acquisition price. If you're going and getting McLaurin in a dynasty trade, in a dynasty startup as a draft pick, in a best ball draft, but especially trade, you're going to be able to acquire him at value that bakes in everything I'm talking about. All the risk is baked into his value. Baked in, boys! So I don't want to hear anything about, oh, they don't have a quarterback. Well, what if they don't get a quarterback? If they don't get a quarterback, let's say they get Jimmy G.
Big fail. We like our quarterbacks to have big hands and big energy. Jimmy does not have big hands.
And that won't be a win. He's okay. He's probably better than this rotation they have going, but he's not a win. He will not. This will hold McLaurin back. I'm not talking about Jimmy G. I'm talking about Russell Wilson, Deshaun Watson, Aaron Rodgers, Tyler Huntley. If a good quarterback lands in Washington, and you can bet your bottom dollar this team is going to be trying to solve this problem because they know what they have on their hands, a good football team that can win now, that can win a division, that can go 2 games deep into the playoffs. This is a playoff caliber team. All they need is a quarterback. That's the only problem here. And if they solve it, McLaurin wins leagues for people at the current asking price in trade, in draft, and he earns you the price you paid now, even if the quarterback situation falls apart and they continue to have a carousel of garbage quarterbacks going through there. If they solve it, you win leagues. The moment this Washington football team, the Commanders, get their hands on an A-Rod or a Russell Wilson or whatever, a good quarterback, the moment they get their hands on a good quarterback, guess what happens? This man's everybody's darling. This man is everybody's top 5 to 10 bounce back, breakout wide receiver. I love Terry McLaurin. I've always liked him. Smitty, this isn't bold. Smitty, this isn't a bold prediction. I know now, in the comments, maybe 2 months from now, when this situation looks resolved, you're going to have some keyboard warrior down in the comments after Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson lands in Washington. They're going to comment 2-3 months late and go, this prediction's not bold. Terry McLaurin, it was easy to see he was a top 5 wide receiver, Smitty. This is dumb. Welcome to my world. And let's just take a look at where his potential ceiling could be if we're going to rank these wide receivers right here. Let's look from a redraft lens, okay? On my clip channel, maybe I'll take this and I'll start rolling with it more from a heavier dynasty perspective. I'm covering dynasty and redraft in every single video pretty much that I create on this channel or live stream. I will try and attack redraft and dynasty. This is a redraft and dynasty channel, plain and simple. The Fantasy Football Show is 365, 24/7, redraft, dynasty, superflex, best ball, you name it. We do it all. But I think I will cut this up and make a more dynasty heavy video on the clip channel. What's the clip channel? What's this clips channel you speak of, Smitty? Right here, go to Smitty1.com. The pop-up banner that immediately pops up has subscribe to my new channel. Subscribe. The link is also in the description of this video, and I'm going to pin it in the top comment, so you have no excuse. You can click that link down below. Subscribe to my new Dynasty Clip channel. Nothing but one player, short form Dynasty clips on this channel. It's gonna be a huge channel. It's already doing well, and it just started. So subscribe. I think I'm gonna do something on McLaurin. Let's incorporate like a little ADP. Not so much what I want. I want Chase number 1. I want Jefferson 2. I want Kupp number 3. That's no knock on Kupp. I love Cooper Kupp, but that's my perspective from redraft. From Dynasty especially, Kupp is going to be 3 or a little bit lower. 3's okay, though. We still got 1 to 2 elite years left. That's a long time in Dynasty. People play way too much for the future. But let's look from a redraft lens here. Kupp, we'll put it number 1. Chase will put number 2. Jefferson will put number 3. Let me move all these guys out of the way. Now, your order might be a little different, okay? So who cares, okay? You got Kupp number 2, you got Jefferson 1, you got Jefferson 2, you got Chase 3, whatever. I don't care. These are the top 3. And I don't want to hear, this always happens. Wait a minute, Smitty. Why is Adams not number 1?
What are we thinking here? A-Rod's not returning to Green Bay?
Watch the rest of my content before you open your mouth about that. Adams could travel with wherever A-Rod goes, but A-Rod is not returning to the Green Bay Packers. Give me a break. Watch any of my other videos, especially my live streams lately, where I tackle this problem over and over and over. Adams, if he follows A-Rod or lands in an amazing situation and doesn't get tagged, which is probably at least a 50 or 60% chance of happening, he gets tagged and plays football in Green Bay, catching footballs from Jordan Love, who's not that guy, pal. He's not that guy, pal. So let's put Hill here, we'll put Debo here, and we'll put Adams right here. So we got Kupp, Chase, Jefferson, Hill, Debo, Adams as our top 6 wide receivers for 2022 initially. Give or take some bumping around. Now, McLaurin is the guy we want to talk about, so I'm going to set him over here. We're going to talk about where he could potentially go. As much as I love A.J. Brown, as much as I love C.D. Lamb, and you know how much of a value he's going to be in 2022 according to my content, because everyone and their mother is wanting to stay clear of him, thus forcing his value down, and he could be a top of the 4th or very, very late 3rd rounder and have a lot of his value baked in, boys, as well. So no disrespect to Lamb at all. I could put Lamb number 5 or 6. I really could argue that. But my point here being, Diggs inconsistent this year, but still has tons of upside. DK, same thing. AJ Brown, injury worries. What about the knees? He's missed time. Lamb, the inconsistency. There's no reason why McLaurin can't be slotted in above this range if he gets his quarterback. And I think ADPs will adjust to at least somewhere around this range once and if the Commanders bring in a big time, big dog quarterback. If they don't, you're probably buying McLaurin well below the Metcalf level anyway, and he's baked in. That risk is way baked in at that level, and this is your acquisition price. No one's selling McLaurin as a top 5 or 6 wide receiver. They're just not. Redraft Dynasty doesn't matter. He may cost more in Dynasty, but he's not going at this level. No one's drafting McLaurin over AJ Brown, Lamb, probably even Metcalf, probably even Diggs. Definitely not over Adams, even in Dynasty. He is a sub 10 easy wide receiver to acquire in Dynasty, but especially in redraft. And best ball, like, you could draft him probably 3 or 4 picks below this Metcalf range, and all day long, give me that in best ball right now. Clean up before the ADP ranks on best ball platforms change. And where do you play best ball? Funny you should ask. Wait, this is you. Where do you play best ball? Funny you should ask. You can go on over to Smitty1.com. Link is also below, and click on the Underdog Fantasy banner, or click the link below in the description, in the pinned comment that I have down below that says Play Underdog Fantasy. Use my link. Play Underdog Fantasy. Play it for the Super Bowl. Play it for early best ball drafting. And on top of that, we best ball draft. We're going to all the time on the channel. And if you're not signed in and ready, when I drop the link to the private best ball draft and only 12 spots can get grabbed, you know how we mock draft. You know how mock drafts fill up like that. If you're not signed in and ready, using my link below, you won't be able to get in. So do it now. register, make a minimum deposit of like 10 or 15 bucks. I forget what the minimum is. And you'll be good to go and ready to get in the best ball drafts. These are not mock drafts. These will be real best ball drafts. You draft and you don't touch it all year. You check back or reflect on it during the year or at the end of the year and see if you won some cash money. Click the link and get ready. McLaurin, clean up right now in best ball with McLaurin's ADP. Clean up. It's going to change the moment there's some whiffs of quarterback movement. He might see an increase in ADP. People are going to start talking about this as they start thinking about logically, what happens if McLaurin gets a Russell Wilson? Good God, he could be a top 5 to 10 wide receiver. Wait, Smitty's been talking about this for a couple months now. There's no reason he can't be right here with Adams. Like, you have Kupp, you have Chase, you have Jefferson, Hill, Debo. He could be the next guy on this list. McLaurin could be right at this range in 2022 fantasy football production wise with an elite quarterback. He is like a Steve Smith meets Tyreek Hill. He's quick, he's elusive, he's got great hands. He plays in an NFL where rules, they help him, they assist him. He cannot be guarded by one individual. You can't touch him, he's too quick. That's why I say he's a mix between Tyreek Hill and an AB. The NFL is built for guys like this. The rules cater around guys like this. McLaurin to the moon in 2022. Again, click that Underdog Fantasy link in the description and in the pinned comment below or at smitty1.com. Use my link. Get ready, get signed in, make your minimum deposit because we're best ball drafting like maniacs this offseason. You couldn't do best ball drafts in Arizona up until the week before last season kicked off. So I had no time to prepare or do best ball drafts with you guys. But this year we're doing it different. We're going to do a ton of them. Make sure you're signed in and ready using that link below. Get on over to sleeperu.com, subscribe to the new Clips channel, link is below. You do not want to miss the Dynasty content I'm cranking out on that puppy, so click that link. Appreciate all you.
Later.
This is the Fantasy Football Show with your host, Smitty.